Hi, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And for today's video, we will tackle about ethnocentrism and relativism in chapter 2, lesson 3. First, let us define what is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is the practice of evaluating or judging another culture according to the values and standards of one's own culture. It is a way of thinking in which a person judges other culture based on the ideas and beliefs on his or her own culture. Ethnocentric, thinking your own culture is better than another culture. Ethnocentric individual judges other groups relative to their own ethnic group or culture, especially with concern for language, behavior, customs, and religion. These ethnic distinctions and subdivisions serves to define each culture ethnicity's unique cultural identity. According to William J. Sumner, ethnocentrism is defined as the technical name of the view of things in which one's own group is the center of everything, and all center of everything and all others are scaled and rated with reference to it. He coined also that ethnocentrism is a belief that the norms, values, ideologies, customs, and traditions of one's own culture or subculture are superior to those characterizing other cultural settings. He further characterized it as often leading to pride, vanity, beliefs of one's own group's superiority, and contempt of outsiders. In the study of anthropology, ethnocentric are people born in a particular culture that grow up observing the values and behavior of the culture will develop a worldview that considers their culture to be the norm or standard. If people then experience other cultures that have different values and normal behaviors, they will find that the thought pattern appropriate to their birth culture are not appropriate for the new cultures. So it can be difficult for them to see the behavior of people from a different culture based on the viewpoints of the culture rather than from their own. Examples of ethnocentrism include religious-centric, or the construct claiming a divine association like divine nation, one nation under God, God's own country, God's chosen people, and God's promised land. Here's another example of ethnocentrism in culture. Throughout Asia, the way of eating and the use of chopsticks with every meal. Some people may find it unnecessary to find that people in other societies, such as the American societies, who eat using forks, spoons, knives, and etc. Moved on to our second topic, which is cultural relativism. So what is cultural relativism? Cultural relativism is the principle that an individual person's beliefs and activities should be understood by others in terms of that individual's own culture. Also, it is the ability to understand a culture on its own terms and not to make judgments using the standards of one's own culture. In other words, right or wrong are culture specific. For example, instead of thinking fried crickets are disgusting, we should try to understand cultural practices of other groups in its own cultural context. It was established and accepted in anthropological research by Franz Boas. Boas first articulated the idea in 1887. Civilization is not something absolute, but is relative, and our ideas and conception are true only so far as our civilization goes. However, Boas did not coin the term. Boas understood culture to include not only certain tastes in food, art, music, or beliefs about religion. He assumed a much broader notion of culture, defined as the totality of mental and physical reaction and activities that characterize the behavior of the individual composing a social group collectively and individually in relation to their natural environment, to other groups, to member of the group itself, and of each individual to himself. Generalization Ethnocentrism, the tendency to assume that one's own culture and way of life represent the norm or are superior to all others, while cultural relativism is the viewing of people's behavior from the perspective of their own culture. Despite how humans have in common, cultural differences are more prevalent than cultural universal. I hope you are doing well while listening to the topic and hope you learned something about it. Thank you and God bless.